YouTubers, Mike Martin's here, Mike Martin's channel. Guys, don't forget to join me for Trends in the Housing Market tonight. Tonight, Trends in the Housing Market, 7 p.m. Western Seaboard time. And I'll have some open lines on the second hour. Anyways, Economist. So this is an article from yesterday, and they're weighing in on what is happening in Seattle with the sliding house prices, right? So Seattle's slow housing market is only a blip. You may have heard about the big chill has suddenly hit Seattle's housing market. According to the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, Seattle home prices are falling faster than the rest of the country. The Emerald City was leading only a few months ago, but we mustn't read too much into it, says Chief Economist. Now, in terms of overall house prices, the last couple of months we've seen some significant softening. Gardner told Seattle's Morning News. There are some out there that are projecting a bubble, a major correction in housing values. I don't see it. Now, let me tell you what's happened for you people living down in King County. I've been following Seattle now for about 22 months in the housing market. The reason why is because Vancouver implemented a foreign buyer's tax to foreign buyers, basically dissuading foreign investment in foreign Chinese capital from parking in Vancouver. Ever since they put that foreign buyers tax in Vancouver, half the investors relocated to Toronto, where if you look at Seattle and Toronto, both housing markets took off at the same time. And the other half of the investors that lost confidence in investing in Vancouver went south to Seattle, to King County. So if you look at cities along the board, Tacoma and all those cities, through the roof, going nuts because of foreign investment and people parking money from China. Now that Chinese capital flows have been cut and restricted to pretty much nothing because of the runoff on the wealth in Chinese currency that was leaving Chinese shores, what's happened is it's ramped up Seattle's housing market in the last 20 months. If you look at when the foreign buyer's tax was implemented in Vancouver and when Seattle's market started taking off, you'll see the correlation. A lot of real estate agents in Vancouver went down to Seattle to work with their real estate partners down there to bring their investors that they have in China over to buy Seattle real estate and Olympia and King County area, basically. So what's happened with that is now that the outflows are dying, the average Seattleite can't afford to live there, just like Vancouver and Toronto and other cities. So there's a mass exodus of people from leaving the state of Washington and heading east to Salt Lake City, Utah, believe it or not, and Nevada. So housing got out of reach, and they're blaming the tech people, they're blaming the tech centers, they're blaming, you know, the rise in Google and Amazon. It's all lies. It's not that. It's not that. So that's what's been happening. That's what I know has happened, and I've been following this for a long time now. So what is happening here? According to Case-Shiller, Home Price Index single-family home costs declined 1.3% in September, following 1.6% drop the month before. What's especially striking is how widespread the drop. It extends from Pierce to King to Snohomish counties. We've certainly reached a peak of lack of affordability. There must be a ratio between home prices and incomes. We've breached that. But it doesn't mean that housing prices are going to correct in the downside, he said. Housing is not a stock. You shouldn't look at it on its value day to day, month to month, or year to year. It's a shelter. First, an asset, and then second, a shelter first, then an asset second. Regarding the ideal type of housing that could potentially mitigate the housing crisis, Gardner would like to see far more townhomes, duplexes, triplexes, ADUs, and small cottages, among others. He also believes that the improve the transit stability and increase density around the transit centers as means of making it easier for people to live somewhat near job centers where Seattle's home prices are normally higher. Gardner says that a part of the reason that prices have softened is the plenty more units coming on the market, and that people are trying to time the market. Invariably, when you get more supply, you still with a still reasonable demand, home price growth softens. I think a lot of those will trail off this month and classically do in December. The big question is going to be how many more units we see coming online in the spring market. There's going to be a lot of units on the spring market. There's an oversupply of units in Washington State, and right now in King County in particular. And there's about 26,000 to 50,000 rumored empty units owned by foreign investors that keep the units empty. So they don't have to deal with tenants and stuff and renting them out and stuff. So that's what's going on right now. And I've been following this really close for the last 2 years now. Ever since Vancouver implemented that foreign buyers tax, boom. Now, what's softening also the Seattle market that a lot of people are not discussing is now in Washington State, they were trying to implement a foreign buyers tax. Oh, here we go again. It's happening there too, but what? We can't do that. It's against the Constitution, or it's against this. It's against free market rules. Well, now they have to ask. Now, when someone's buying a house in cash, they have to ask where the money came from. They have to declare it. And you don't play around with the United States. When you declare something, if you don't declare and you're not honest, they'll take everything from you, every penny. And now they're going to pass a law there stating that they have to declare where the income's coming from, period. And that's going to slow and soften sales now in Washington State. And that's a very simple question. If somebody walked into my place of business with a suitcase full of money, I'm not going to ask them to declare where they got the money from, but it's kind of something you want to keep your eye out, right? Because I'm a retail store. But when someone's buying a house in a foreign country, and someone's coming here and buying out your country and your futures, you want to ask where the money's coming from. And this doesn't go against any laws asking and declaring where you got the money from. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Seattle market softening. Is it because of the crackdown or the capital outflows on China are softening? You're gonna see a huge crash come in the Q1 and Q2 in the King County, Seattle area because of the changes now. Rising interest rates, stress testing. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think if you're down in King County. Add me on Skype if you want to be on the show and give us insight on trends in the housing market. Thanks for watching.